And I saw an article that dovetails with this. We've now learned, even if you buy legal endangered wood from the Forest Council or others that confirm that it's indigenous people making the money and that it was a tree that fell over, as Gibson does, because they need it for the fingerboards. Even if you do that, it's illegal under Agenda 21 and what the Lacey Act, this is in mainstream news, if American workers work the wood. See, everything's written where you can't have a job. That's how they're economically, through economic warfare, bringing us down. And here's the articles right here. Government says wood is illegal if U.S. workers produce it. This is from Gibson.com. They've finally been told why they were raided. So, producing your own wood or working it, Americans are, this is mercantilism. One big reason we had 1776 is we were not allowed to have any finished goods produced in the colonies. It can only be sent to England to have that done. The New England is China, where the globalists have deals with the communist Chinese that only their mega factories can operate. You can go to them and order something you want and have them produce it, but you got to get it from them. Just like you got to be an insider to run your power plant. You've got to be an insider to not have to buy the insurance, the health insurance. I mean, this is mafia government. So there you have it. Also, Gibson Guitar CEO, raid by feds to cost company $2 to $3 million. Feds raid Gibson Guitar factory over protected wood, Wall Street Journal. CEO of Gibson Guitar's main competitor is a huge Democratic donor. We're going to be talking with the CEO of Gibson coming up. Now, I haven't even gotten into our top story yet. We're going to get Mr. Von Nothaus on as soon as we can. He's facing sentencing, and he's facing decades in prison for publicly issuing his own gold and silver coins, or rounds. And, of course, he set up the Hawaiian Mint. I remember watching as a child on TV with commemorative coins. There are thousands of companies that have come and gone, hundreds operating currently. In fact, I know Midas Resources sells Lakota rounds. I know 7 states now have moved to pass laws to issue their own silver rounds. I know Midas commissioned a Liberty committee, Campaign for Liberty, a little gold coin. I mean, it's everybody does that. And even the Associated Press, when they convicted Nothaus, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago, did their own analysis and said, this is really scary. There's hundreds of these companies, and he wasn't operating as if this was U.S. currency. He was saying you should create your own independent currencies, which are what credit cards could be called, or what customer loyalty cards, or when you go to a Chuck E. Cheese or something and get the card that puts the credits on it. I mean, there's all sorts of coupon programs. That's all an alternative currency. And there's a bunch of cities that have got multi-hundred-year-old currencies here in the U.S. And even AP said this counterfeiting clause they used, this jury didn't know what they were doing. No, the jury knew full well what they were doing. They knew full well that 98% now, it was 97 last year, now they're reporting 98% of people charged by feds are found not guilty, or excuse me, are found guilty. See, my brain can't even believe that number. 98% of those that go to federal court, you can pull these numbers up, are found guilty. And that's because the federal juries are kept. They're selected, they're picked, and then they're kept. And they will send a ham sandwich to the gas chamber for blowing up the Hindenburg blimp. I mean, they will send a M&M to the gas chamber, saying that it worked with Hitler. Well, I'm going to come back into this, but there's been a new development with the Secret Service. They are saying the coins themselves are illegal. Henry Juskowitz is going to be joining us in about 25 minutes. He is the CEO of Gibson Guitar. We've now learned a lot more about the second SWAT team raid on their facility. Under Agenda 21 and the Lacey Act, they actually quote Agenda 21, it doesn't matter if the wood is legal, non-endangered wood certified. Because it was imported from India under the UN law, the United States is not allowed to work the wood. Because under Agenda 21, we have to abide by foreign countries' laws. You heard me right. And it dovetails with this report. We even have the video clip up at Infowars.com. Kucinich says Obama's job czar, expert at creating foreign jobs. What I've been screaming about for 3 years, 2.5 years. His job czar, who heads up his economic council, and previously was also part of another council at the White House, has gotten a waiver for all of his power plants or power plants they're contracted on to build. They're allowed to release any type of pollution they want. All other power plants cannot even release carbon dioxide or water vapor. They've now been listed as toxic waste. Again, insiders, 2,000 plus companies, no insurance needed for their employees. Close to $5 billion of the General Motors bailout, the $25 billion total, $5 billion of that, or right at $5 billion, was used to move major factories to Brazil, Eastern Europe, and China. Your tax money, you heard me right, paid to move the factories. You're not allowed to make a wood guitar. You're not allowed to have a lemonade stand. The girls out there selling the Girl Scout cookies are getting arrested or fined. Thousands of articles. Forbes 2 days ago said, what's the pandemic of raids and arrests of people selling lemonade? Amish getting hit and hit hard. Dairies getting hit and hit hard. Farmers getting harassed. What does the Declaration of Independence say? He has erected a multitude of offices and sent forth swarms of agents to eat out our substance. Guys, type in Declaration of Independence, eat out our substance. I want to read the full quote. Thank you. Put it on screen for PrisonPlanet.tv viewers. Everything in the Declaration is exactly what we're experiencing. In the 13 colonies, you were not allowed to have finished goods under tax laws. You had to ship raw material to England for it to be a finished good. That is one of the biggest reasons there were rebellions. Then they started having the redcoats and the regional governors' militia start searching people's persons and start searching people's wives. And that's when the shooting started. You understand, ladies and gentlemen, they know this is going to get bloody. They want it to get bloody. We have got to reach out to police and military now and educate them. We've got to stand down for America. Everything the government's doing is completely alien to the spirit of 1776 and illegal and unconstitutional. But here's Dennis Kucinich breaking down that Jeffrey Emmett has used bailout money, stimulus money, to move the entire X-ray division. One of the few industries we had left was X-ray production out of the U.S., General Electric to China. Cars being moved out. Everything. Now, let's get this straight. These aren't companies just getting tax incentives to move. They're being paid your money to leave. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and to eat out their substance. I got the quote almost exactly right. He has kept among us, in times of peace, standing armies without the consent of our legislatures. They federalized the National Guard 3 years ago. And what did the John Warner Defense Authorization Act say? Actually, 4 years ago. It said, chillingly, that the military and the new guard will be used in case of insurrection or rebellion, including by the governors. And then Bush established the Governor's Council. He doesn't listen to the governors themselves and the states. They have a 10-member board appointed by the president. Obama continued it. They have a rural council that speaks for your town, your county, and is run by the Department of Homeland Security. Oh, man. But see, it's Red Dawn, but they're wearing our uniforms. It's Red Dawn, but they come out and say they're here to help. It's Red Dawn in slow motion, but it's bankers who release the communist to collectivize and wreck the system, then they roll in after it. Communism always leads to fascism. In Russia, in China, everywhere it's practiced. That's why 10 years ago, the Chinese president said, China's communism is the greatest expression of capitalism. People said, that's an oxymoron. Why did it was in BBC. It was a video clip. Why did he say that? It makes no sense. Communism? Chinese communism is the greatest expression of capitalism? It is. Bankster capitalism is collectivist, command and control from the top, non-free market monopoly. Competition is a sin, as the head Rockefeller said over 100 years ago. If you tried to set up your own gold mine or your own oil field on your own property, he would pull up with Pinkerton troops, and he had the governor bought. They did this from New Jersey to Colorado. Pull up Pinkerton Massacre, Colorado. The train would pull up, they'd ride off on their horses, they'd set up their machine guns, before that their Gatling guns, and they would go into towns and murder every man, woman, and child. And to scare the next town, they'd line little kids up, cock that pistol, and blow their brains out. Move on, man! America's ours! Ah! Yeah, it's our country now! Yeah! We're gonna get it! What, in the 1920s, there were cases of U.S. military wanting their pensions. They just sent out the army to machine gun them down, ride them over with horses. There were cases, you can pull up, what, in New Jersey, where there'd be a Rockefeller plant, people protesting. They just send in private security and slaughter everybody. Listen, all that's coming back to America. But the Rockefellers said, we hate these American scum. They've beat us, and they were beaten. So the Rockefellers started acting nice and putting out all this PR about how they were good. They made their money tax-free. And they said, we're going to hit their vaccines. We're going to hit their food. We're going to hit their water. We're going to get these Americans, our #1 enemy. And they've gotten you good. They've gotten me good now, haven't they? They think you're so caught up in their trance that they've got you. What's the snake's name in the Jungle Book? What's the snake's name? He sits there and hypnotizes people. Ka, can you break yourselves out of that? By the way, guys, I want to show them the Pinkerton Massacre, or Rockefeller Massacre, Colorado. Yeah, Ludlow. We'll pull that. There's a whole bunch of them. But, yeah, that's one of the best known. And they just rode into the town, burned it, burned families up, shot them. Woohoo, yeah. Yeah. The Ludlow Massacre was an attack by the Colorado National Guard on the 10th colony of 1,200. And I know Pinkerton was involved in that or some of the others. It all goes back to memory. Massacre was an attack on the by the Colorado National Guard on the 10th colony of 1,200 striking coal miners and their families. That may not be the one in Colorado. There's another one where they're running them out of a town. On April 20th, 1914, the deaths occurred after a day-long fight between strikers and the Guard. The massacre resulted in the violent deaths between 1925 people. Sources vary, but all sources include 2 women and 11 children asphyxiated and burned to death under a single tent. Ludlow was the deadliest incident in the southern Colorado coal strike. Yeah, there were a bunch of them. Control F Pinkerton. I know they were involved in some of those Colorado ops. Just Control F Pinkerton and it'll pop up if it's in there. Yeah. And then hit enter. That's all you got to do. It's just not found in that one. They all mix together. You can just go pull it up for yourself. Thank you, sir. Oh, good news. ATF chief steps down in the government shipping the guns into Mexico. And, of course, he was caught perjuring himself. And when he got scared, he said, look, it was all under orders from the Department of Justice from Eric Holder. The ATF isn't the only one. FBI, DEA are involved. Months later, comes out, it's all true. All over the country. Key armed gangs from Illinois, California, Florida, armed by the FBI, DEA, and others to go kill the other gangs that weren't laundering their money properly. And secondarily, to blame the Second Amendment. The U.S. government is shipping guns to gangbangers all over Mexico, Honduras, and the United States to go after their, and this is some good news. This just broke. But you see, that's not enough. It must go to Holder. It must go to Obama, that traitor-in-chief. His uncle, it turns out, it was given a Social Security number, no one knows why, and is an illegal alien. Just a pack of scum and criminals. A pack of absolute, abject, total filth and garbage.